Ladies, gamers, and gentlemen, welcome to another one of BelleNOiR's Starcraft 2 casts. Today it is going to be Sasuke versus Bomber. This is a ladder game taken off of the Korean server. We're gonna be heading into Bel'Shir Vestige, and we are going to see Sasuke, or Sosuke, as it is the correct Japanese pronunciation of the name, spawning as the red Protoss player in the lower right position. In the top left, we are going to see Startail's Bomber, the blue Terran player. Of course, Bomber, very well known for his creative builds, and it seems to me like he always tries or manages to find a way of how to revolutionize certain matchups, and in fact he caused he caused a revolution in every single matchup, every single Terran matchup, starting with TVT and continuing on with TVZ and TVP respectively. And he is certainly a player to be feared, but this is not a tournament game, this is a ladder game, so probably what we will see happen here is just a fairly normal standard play, seeing the evidence of this straight from the start as Bomber is opening up with a barracks into a 12 refinery. We'll be getting that Reaper out fairly quickly here and scout Sosuke out. Sosuke opening up so far with one gas after that gateway, so we'll be thinking of getting a fairly fast expansion unless he builds a second gas and decides to mine gas with 4 probes. Barracks are finishing up for the time being. Let's see what ends up coming out of those barracks. Oh my god, I'm holding a sneeze right now so hard. Alright, so we are going to have a Reaper trying to come out of the barracks, and Sosuke is still not getting a second gas. Has queued up a Reaper that is waypointed towards the natural base. The reason he is doing so is in case there is an SCV blocking the expansion, he can use the Zealot to kill off the engineering bay really quickly. This probe is meant to get to the natural expansion right around the time before the Zealot finishes, so Sasuke will have enough time to cancel the Zealot, bringing himself up to 400 minerals and be able to throw down that Nexus very quickly. And also the first 100 gas is going to be used to get that mothership core out, followed by probably a Stalker. Second gas coming down, as well as a pylon here for Sosuke. Let's see if he will get that Reaper down. I mean that Stalker. The mothership core is going to defend the probes versus the Reaper harassment, but the primary purpose of the Reaper is to get a scout. And from the scout that Bomber has gotten so far, he knows that this is a pretty normal game. He has seen the expansion, he has seen that there is a second gas, he clicked on the gases, he saw how much was mined, so the first Stalker will be coming out. Bomber following this up with a second barracks. No engineering bay anywhere yet. We will probably see a tech lab being added on to that barracks shortly here, just to get that stim nice and early. Meanwhile, Bomber will just continue to produce Marines. That Reaper going to scout out the remainder of the map, just in case there is a proxy Stargate anywhere. Bunker going down for Bomber and a Robo facility for his opponent. Sasuke getting a second Stalker. That is a very standard and very wise move, and ooh, immediately we see something very interesting coming out of Bomber. He's getting concussive shells and starting his Marauder production, which pretty much means that he's gearing himself up for a little bit of an early push here. I have to surmise, because usually what you see the Terran players doing is they will get the stim and then continue on into the factory, but Bomber, he's going with concussive shells straight up. The concussive shells will finish in a couple of seconds here. Another Marauder ready to pop out of those barracks, and he's going to go for a very quick push. Now, about this push, Sasuke, he's got no idea. He's playing this very defensively, afraid to be out on the map with his units. He's queuing up observers. There will be no immortals to defend. and the Reaper just comes in to reaffirm Bomber that there are no additional structures. Warp Gate only just now finishing. We have only one gateway worth of production. Mothership Core staying defensive at the natural base as the units are coming in. Bomber not even caring about the Nexus. He wants to get this army down. He wants to kill as many units as possible, but a good force field stopped that from happening. And Sasuke, well, he defends. And these 5 Marines are a little bit vulnerable. Luckily, the reinforcements are coming in. Behind this, Sasuke is transitioning into Colossus play. He will get 1 Immortal or maybe even 2 Immortals before he queues up that 1 Colossus. And Bomber will have to pull back here. He is being forced back. So if we take a look back to his base, though, he's got medevac production almost ready. Stim is started and is good 40 seconds away into research. 2 additional gateways being added on by Sasuke, +1 armor going down as well. There is the first Colossus in production in the Robo facility, and so far, you know, 0 workers have been killed. Good observer placement by Sasuke. He will see the time when Bomber moves out with his units. Factory might be used later on to block the 3rd expansion from going down, or maybe just build proxy Widow mines. But Bomber, he's going to be on 3 barracks worth of production, 2 tech labs. That is also not that common. Usually, Terran players really prefer to build a lot of Marines in the earlier stages of the game. But Bomber is showing us that he's not afraid to go Marauder heavy, and this will provide one crucial advantage to him, and that is that this will make his army very, very, very beefy. And Sasuke, he will have to rely on force fields for defense against those Marauders. Attempted drop into the main base, going to be denied. 1 Stalker goes down, and looks like Bomber really wants to fight here, but that is not a good idea. Bomber realizes that, loads up, goes away, did lose a couple of units there. 12 Marines and 2 Marauders have been lost so far. 3rd command center on the way for Bomber, and +2 armor and +1 attack will probably start here for Sasuke, as he does have the Twilight Council finish along with the 2nd Forge. He is on 5 gateways currently, and there we have it. +1 armor, +2 armor, +1 weapons going down. And let us see, probably a blink will get researched additionally here for Sasuke. That will allow him to defend versus drops a little bit easier and protect those Colossus from Viking snipes. First 2 Vikings in production for Bomber. The number of medevacs we have out on the field so far are 4. For the time being, it is going to be enough, as Bomber adds on 2 additional barracks. I'm getting a little bit worried though about him, about his upgrade timing, as his +1 weapons are only just now finishing, and +1 armor will be queued up behind that immediately. This should give Sasuke a pretty significant armor lead, upgrade lead. The 3rd base, oh my goodness, the 3rd base getting taken out immediately, not even cancelled. That's a net 400 resources lost for Sasuke, not what you want to happen there. And well, he is still ahead in terms of resources lost, so he didn't lose that much. Still these Stalkers in the main base trying to ward off against drops, but oh, these Colossi, I have to be really, really careful. I don't think Sasuke saw those units there though. Or maybe he did, but decided not to engage. Bomber going to be taking his 3rd base over here. Sasuke does not know about that. He did check this location in the meantime, and didn't see a 3rd base coming down. So he will push this attack away, cancelling the Nexus just to be sure that it doesn't get sniped, and rebuilding it. So far, you know, even if his expansion is a little bit behind, it's not a big deal really, because as long as you can get your 3rd base up relatively 1 minute after the Terran gets up his, you're still going to be in a pretty good shape, as long as you have the upgrade advantage, which we can see the Protoss player most probably will have. So now that he is on a good economy, on a good number of units and gateways, he warped in a couple of Stalkers and joined up with his army. 4th Colossus on the field right now, And this is just about the time when, as a Protoss player, you want to stop Colossus production, because there will be enough Vikings out on the field to pose a significant threat against those Colossus. So we can see the transition into Templar Archives and Storms already in the making. And from this point on, Sasuke will want to save up his gas as much as possible, so he will be primarily warping in Zealots and avoid losing Stalkers and Sentries. Bomber trying to go in yet again, and here we go. The Vikings taking good shots onto the Colossus. One already has gone down. The infantry is kiting away from all those Zealots, and as those Zealots all fall, it will make Sasuke's army a little bit weaker. More reinforcements coming in. Look at the immaculate macro out of Bomber. More Zealots being warped in, but it's not going to be enough. They are falling very, very rapidly, and without those Zealots there is nothing to protect this army. Aggressive blink forward at the worst possible time. There are no Colossi remaining here. Vikings having to land to help out the ground army. All of them have been taken out, but there is enough units here to pick off at least 1 or 2 more units. Photon overcharge initiated as well onto the third base as more reinforcements are coming in from Bomber. Sasuke has to defend very, very hard here right now. He's got no Colossi on the field. He will be hard pressed to manage his gas and divide it correctly between the Colossus production and the High Templars. The High Templar Archives are finished, but we don't see any Templars out on the field yet. The natural base may go down as well, as Bomber does focus that down. He may even get the Templar Archives. One more shot onto the Nexus and it will be dead. There it explodes in a gazillion of white and blue sparks. And Sasuke, despite being up on upgrades, he's got a 2 upgrade lead on his opponent. He just did not have a good enough positioning in the first fight, lost all of his Colossus, and now his army is relatively small compared to the Terran player. We can see the army supply is 63 versus 93, and Bomber is going for a huge drop into the main base. Sasuke hugely out of position with the entirety of his army, will not make it home in time to save these buildings here. His main Nexus will go down, and that should force a GG out of the Protoss player. He does have more than enough resources to rebuild both of those Nexuses, but can he afford to do it? Time is not on his side, as Bomber is just happily mining off of 3 bases. He's building a 4th one. He will continue his upgrades here very, very shortly. He's on 2-1 currently and does have 1 attack for the ship weapons as well. Going into the main base yet again, going to unpower the majority of these gateways and maybe even get the Robo. He will for sure get this Colossus. Units are coming in back to defend, but a lot of probes will go down, or should go down here in the process. The medevacs are forced out of the base for now, and the army has been killed off. But such huge losses incurred by the Protoss player, and still the Nexuses are not being rebuilt. And right now Sasuke doesn't even have money to do so, because he was forced to warp in a lot more units to defend the pressure. Now the question is, can Bomber hold the inevitable counterattack as the Protoss army is marching towards his 3rd base? Bomber is moving out of position with his army. That is not what you want. Evacuating all the SCVs, trying to even fight against the Zealots. Will we see a good time warp going down? Yes, we will, but the Mothership Core does go down instantly, and there's only just 1 Colossus here with this army. Army supply 70 versus 127. As Bomber holds onto his 3rd base for now. Sasuke probably will try and take out this command center here, or maybe even check this location, suspecting that there should be a base over there, trying to pull Bomber out of position. Meanwhile, he takes the time to rebuild at least the natural Nexus. The main is still empty. There is no base here for Sasuke to kill. He might get this command center, but does it really matter with Bomber having 600 more minerals in the bank and being maxed out? It doesn't. Sasuke knows it. GG's out of the game as Bomber takes the match. Ladies, gamers and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, please hit the like button, and if you have any constructive comments or just words of praise, don't hesitate and post them into the comment section below. My name's BelleNOiR, and until next time, just remember to storm first and ask questions later.